So this gardening right here is not what your mom and daddy would tell you to go do, and it's not what your grandma and grandpa would tell you to go do. Hey y'all, welcome back to Homestead. We are getting ready for a huge rainstorm that's coming in this afternoon. I finished my cottage garden here. We're going to do another video later on this week on this. This is all poor man's raised bed technique. Go back and watch those videos. This was built for free, 100% free. So today I want to show you how to plant totally radical. We've done videos on this, and I think this will be very, very interesting to you guys. So out here, I'm gonna go briefly over what I've got planted. I've got some zinnias over here at the border, some bell pepper, tomatoes, two rows of dent corn that I want to cross-pollinate. I've got blue hopi and green oxacan dent corn, if I'm pronouncing that right. I want the green and the blue to cross-pollinate and have a bicolored green and blue corn. We're gonna experiment with this, okay? So I wanted to plant cucumbers, I wanted to plant zucchini, I wanted to plant tomatoes, I wanted to plant pole beans. I said, I don't have room for all this. I could plant the pole beans beside the corn to add nitrogen to the soil, and I still may do that. But I come out here with my tomato cages and I said, well, let's plant some tomatoes. Let's plant some more right here. I said, this is such a waste of space. I don't get to plant what I want. So the idea crossed my mind, and I want you guys to just watch me. This may be a total failure, but I'm going to try this. So let me show you one of the tomato cages. I've got two cages here, if you guys can see. One, I've got my arm on over here. This is an old tomato cage, and this one that was built out of concrete reinforcement wire. My husband was gone out of town last spring, and I was pretty much having to do all this on my own. I built these cages. All you do is snip it, bend the ends on top of themselves. So, but it's short if you divide the concrete wire in half. So this one's pretty short. It'll still hold a tomato. This one's taller, does well, but there's no way to stabilize this on the ground without putting rock or brick. This, the way you cut it, you've got spikes on the end, so you stick it in the ground and it holds. So they've both got advantages and disadvantages. I said, well, let me plant some more tomatoes right here. You know, of course, they need to be spaced apart. I probably could get 4. I said, there's no point in this. There's no point. As much as I fertilize my garden, as good as this soil is, because it's all natural, it's full of worms, it's full of fungus, it's full of good fungus, it's full of so many things. Let's plant radically outside the box. Instead, let's plant outside the cage. Let me show you what I'm going to do. If you guys can see, I've got my cage here, and I've got some tomatoes. We bought these. We ended up having to. They're better boys. So a tomato plant, you usually want to space at least 2 foot apart, for preferably 3, because they're such heavy feeders. And the main thing is you need good airflow. You need to have good airflow and space between the plants, because the leaves are so lush and you can get tomato blight. Well, here in central Alabama, we get blight on our tomatoes no matter what. It does not matter because it's so humid. So the main thing is, last year we've done a video on this, on tomato blight and how to combat it in your garden. Prune, copper, fertilize. It's going to get them no matter what, and these are not going to be just 10-year perennials here. You have to be done with it at some point. So to maximize your garden and maximize your harvest, I plant them closer. That's what I do. Again, this is radical gardening. Y'all don't have to try this. This is just what I'm trying. So let me show you. Normally, what I do, I've got my cage here, and I would put something around it, because this is the tall one that's floppy. And Better Boy is indeterminate. That means that they'll grow and grow and grow. Last year we had 10-foot tall tomato plants. They were literally over 10 foot tall because I fertilized them so much. So normally I make my hole. A lot of times I'll put an egg. This year I've been mixing calcium, a calcium supplement in this as well. And this is the poor man's bed, guys. It's about 1 foot deep. It's all mulch, okay? I'm going to put my calcium down in there. Good bit. A good bit. More than I would if I was planting one plant in that hole, okay? Next, I'm going to put some triple 13. Good bit. Cover it up. See all that mulch? It's just mulched. Just like that. Very good. Then I'm going to put my tomato, covered up. I'm not this year. Not right there anyways. I'm trying something totally different. So I've got this cage. I'm going to put brick around it. That's the first thing. All right, so I put brick around my tomato cage. At this point, I would have the tomato in here. we wish it good luck and we go from there. Now, when it grows on up, you'll need to stake it somehow or another, even inside the cage. If you are really fertilizing your plants and you've got heavy foliage, if you don't prune, you really need to stake. If you do prune, you're going to have a little bit easier time, but you still need to stake it somehow. I like to use, as you can see here, old socks that's cut up into strips. I'll tie them on here and tie the tomato plant to it, okay? String, you can get clips, plastic clips, whatever you'd like to use. This year, let's do something different. So I'm planting outside the cage. All the cage is support. That's it. And you don't need this huge cage if you're going to prune it to a tree. Go back and look at my videos from last summer on our garden tours, our cattle panel tomatoes, all of that. I pruned mine just like a tree. It was just a straight trunk all the way up, maybe a few leaves. The top was bushy, looked like tomato trees. That's what they were. So that's what I'm going to do on the outside of the cage. I'm going to plant as many tomatoes as I can. So I'm going to start by kind of digging out a little spot here. Now, I may do a little fertilizer, a little of just the triple 13. If you're using something organic, that's fine, whatever. And I'm gonna do, what I had planned to do is I've got a cattle panel that's spaced just like this. They're about 10 inches between two squares, maybe a foot. I think it's 10 inches. So what I was going to do is plant one every 2, and that's pretty much what I'm going to follow here. I would like to try to get all 6. This is a 6-pack around this tower. The center is for fertilizer only. And guess what, guys? This is the beauty. You come out here with your compost, or you come out here with vegetable scraps, earthworms, whatever, throw it in the center. You're feeding the center. The roots will pick that up. It spreads out to the bush around the cage. I think this will work. So I'm going to go on and start with one here. Again, I hate we had to buy these, but we had a total failure this year with our seedlings on most of the red tomatoes. We've got some better boys. We've got some we've planted. I've got some over there that are black brandywines, things like that. All right, so I'm going to put this right here. Now, the thing about this is, from the very get-go, I'm going to plant him. I'm going to have to start staking him from the very get-go. If not, he's going to want to fall, okay? All the cage is for support. Tomatoes grow in the wild. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but they don't grow in cages naturally. So this is a man-made invention. So, you know, sometimes you just got to test what you've been told, put it to the limit, and I think it's fun. You've got to keep your interest peaked with gardening, because if not, you're going to lose patience, you're going to lose interest real quick, and it's going to make it not worth it. So, hey, do what you think. Do something always to keep your interest peaked. Now, this bed is brand new, and he's not broken down any, so it's kind of hard to plant in him right now, but that'll be okay. All right, so we've got one better boy there. And what's even better is I planted that main line, that main stem right here by one of these. So what I'm gonna do is stake him up along the wire, and that's my support. It is good that I've got the brick on 4 sides, but it's also even better if you plant all around this thing so it's not pulling in one direction. You've got every which way pulling, and the pressure is dispersed around this cage. Okay, so I've got that. And y'all don't go try this until I know that it works, unless you just want to, but just realize this may be a total failure. Hey, but it's fun. It's fun. So let's go over here. I want to do about every 2. And I just don't know. I want to get 6 in here somehow, but I don't know if that's going to work. Let's go over here. Let's go way down. Never let your roots touch that triple 13. I do not have to use fertilizer. I'm just using it. All right. Now, I really feel like this would work with a determinate tomato. A determinate is small, is predetermined. It'll cap out and be done. An indeterminate, you can work till kingdom come, until frost. You can work with it and try to keep it alive, and it'll keep growing if you throw fertilizer to it. That's just what I've seen. And you see that I'm kind of planting above ground here. This bed is an active compost bed. It breaks down over time, so when it's new like this and pretty much unplanted in ground, it's hard the very first year. Very hard. All right. And all this rain coming in is going to be beautiful for this. Beautiful. All you're doing with this is pretty much using mulch in this bed. Okay, so I've got him right by that stem. I know without a shadow of a doubt you could do 4 around a tomato cage. I'm gonna try to do 6, we'll see. Okay, let's come over here. Let's see here. I really don't have a place to put him, but we're gonna see. Those brick are messing me up bad, real bad. I went nuts there with that triple 13. And so I'm gonna go all around the tomato plant, or tomato cage. I don't know if anybody's done this. I come up with this on my own this morning. So if someone's done it, I promise I have not copied them, because I just thought this is the most ingenious idea I have ever seen in my life. When I thought about it, I said, hey, I've got to show these people this and show them that you can garden in multiple ways. I would recommend doing something like this if I had been gardening for a little while. Yada, yada, yada. I wouldn't do this my first year because we don't know if it's going to work. You need to know what you're doing to begin with. And then start doing stuff like this, because this may fail and I don't want you to be discouraged, because you're going to have a hard enough time as it is trying to plant under the best conditions, even if you know what you're doing. So don't get discouraged. Okay, I've got 3 on this side. He's not really on that, but I can still stake him up there. So I'm gonna do the back side real quick. If you guys can see, I got all 6 around this. They're gonna come up. I thoroughly believe you could even do watermelons this way if you had a sturdy enough cage. I really do. I think you could do anything around this. Pumpkins, ooh, I don't know. Let's try something else. All right, so I've got about 1.5 feet or 2 feet between my last tomato and my next cage. I'm gonna plant in this. You could keep doing tomatoes. You really could. I'm gonna do something different. So I'm gonna do the same thing in the center. Fertilize. I'm gonna do the triple 13 a good bit. A little bit of calcium doesn't hurt, especially in ground that's not complete yet. Done. Okay, let's put our cage up and in the center. This is the one I like that's got the spikes on the end. That's what I really like. Okay. Now, this is a lot shorter than that one. What I'm going to try, this is all an experiment, y'all. It's a complete experiment. Bring my old broken bucket over here. Get some more of that fertilizer. I'm gonna try cucumbers. This is the Bet Alpha cucumber, if I'm pronouncing that right. It says that the plants need to be spaced 6 to 12 inches. Usually, me and my husband, this is the exact same fencing we use for our cucumbers. We'll do every 2 squares. That's going to be 10 inches. So what I'm going to do is go all the way around this, every other square, put a little fertilizer, cover it, and plant these cucumbers. Now, cucumbers like to be mounded up, so if you could, try to mound them. And I'm only going to plant 1. Ooh, there's a creepy crawly. Oh. That's what I'm personally going to do. That way, if some make it, great. If they don't, great. Either way, it'll be more space. I'm going to have to work these all the way around this cage and intertwine them up circular. That's what I'm going to do this time. I'm not going straight up. I'm going to go diagonally all the way around and spiral up with these. And I may not do every other one. I may do, I don't know, the more I think about it. I think I'm going to do 2 on each third. So let's see here. No, I'm going to do 3, just in case the germination's bad. There's 3. Very good. Put it in there. Okay, let's go over here. Just like that. Wrong fertilizer. Little fertilizer. Cover it. Put something there. A couple of those. Ooh. In. And done. Okay. Make sure you pat it down over here. Let's do that. I think that would be better. It's going to be way too crowded trying to wind these up. Like I said, I don't even know the germination, so that's why I'm going a little bit higher on this. There's a couple. Okay. Cover it up. So I'm direct sowing these cucumbers. You could transplant them. I've done that. That's fine. I just like to direct sow. It's going to be in the 80s next week. We've got all this rain coming in, so I'm working fast because I want to get rained on. So I've got 1, 2, 3. We're going to circulate those all the way around this tower. Now I'm going to have to thin these out. Ideally, I would think 3 plants around this would be good. But I don't know. I don't know the germination. I can always go back and thin out. That's something else you can do, planting outside the cage. Now, you could do that inside the cage, but I feel like with the foliage, it's going to be extremely hard to intertwine this inside this tomato cage. You see what I'm saying? So what we're doing is building a cucumber tower, but on the outside. I think having it on the outside and then going like this or kind of going sideways around and winding up will be so much easier than planting on the inside of this. What I'm trying to do is show y'all that there's ways to plant a lot of food in a little space. You've got to come out here and work it though. You don't have to have a long cattle paddle. You don't have to have some of this stuff. If you have just space to plant 1 cucumber plant and that's all you've got, go on the outside and try 3. I'm just trying to maximize your food harvest. I'm trying to maximize mine. I'm just trying to do different ideas. So let's do something else. All right, this one I spaced a little bit further apart than that cucumber because that cucumber is going to have a lot of foliage. So I'm going to do the same thing in the center. Calcium and triple 13. Covered up. Very good. Now, let's put our cage down. I'm using the concrete wire here. The only problem is in this bed is it's on a slope. So we're going to start getting into some problems. I'm going to come back and stake this more than likely. Okay, so next, let's try this. Cocozelle zucchini. We talked about this on the live stream last night where we did a free seed giveaway. A lot of people grow their zucchini and squash vertically to prevent powdery mildew and squash vine borer. Let's try it on here. I'm going to do these fairly close, fertilize in the center. Guys, I just started thinking like okra. Do you know how much okra you could grow in a circle compared to in a row? I mean, you don't need the cage for it, but anytime that you grow something circular, you're going to get more out of it because it's not really competing with each other because it's in a circle, especially if you could go in here and fertilize. If this works with these tomatoes especially, I'm going to be, I'm going to be tore up. I planted them regular for all these years. So anyways, let's try this zucchini. So same thing. Usually I like to mound this up. And this, it says space 36 inches. We're not doing that. I never do what the package says. Now, some of y'all probably have a lot better results if you do exactly what it says, but what's the point of following a rule sometimes, you know? Sometimes you got to break it just to see what'll happen. Okay. If it's within gardening, anyways. All right, so there's that. And mound it up. I had some potting mix laying around and I went back and added it to the top of this poor man's raised bed just to see what would happen. Okay, I'm gonna put 2 in there. Cover it up. Let that be it. I still like my stuff in mounds, always. Always, always, always. Okay, let's come over here. That is good stuff right there. See all that mulch I'm using? Think about what you could plant, guys. Think about it. Think long and hard, because I just come out here on a whim. I have no clue. Start thinking. Put your comments below. Anything you could train vertically. You know, you could do peppers this way. You could do, I mean, they don't need the support, but you could plant them in a circle instead of, like I've taken up all that space over there, 20 foot for 4 pepper plants. You know, I mean, it's, so maybe this is the year we need to try to plant in a circle. I don't know. All right, let's go around here. I'm just doing it for my own self, planting that triple 13. I know you don't have to have it. I know a lot of you don't like it. I understand that. It's just what I'm doing. Okay. And you notice I'm planting 2 here. I intend to go thin these out. What I'm going to do is every bit of this is going to have to be staked and worked daily. So if you work a full-time job, you're not off much, this is not going to be the planting for you. You're going to have to come out here and baby this constantly. I promise you. I couldn't have done this when I was working full-time. And last year when I started doing the cattle panel tomatoes, it became that was my full-time job. No kidding. It was tough, but we got so many tomatoes in such a little space. Okay, I don't know if y'all can still see or not. There, I think I'm gonna do 5 on this one because these zucchini are, see, there's my cucumber back here, so I don't want it, you know, I don't want that cucumber trying to come over here with its tendrils. Okay, just like that. Make a mound, 2 little spots. You could do this with squash easily, easily, easily. My best squash ever from Squash Vine Boards was smooth criminal straight neck squash. It grows vertically. Best stuff ever, ever. Okay, last one. Ooh. And it rained last night, so I'm muddy. I'm just trying to get this stuff in. It won't rot in this potting soil or whatever it is, this mulch. And with that heat coming up on it, this is perfect planting weather. 1, 2, that's it. If you plant in container gardens and you've got a humongous container, you could do this in it. Put the tomato cage in the center and plant stuff up in the container. I don't know though, the roots can spread outwards. They can get nutrients from out. That's why you can cram stuff together in a raised bed that's full of compost and nutrients. I don't think you probably could in a container. You might could do 2 instead of 1. You know, that you might could do. Last but not least, I want to see exactly how far I've got around this cage, and I want to see how I would wind something up. So, let's see here. I'll start going around him. So we've got almost 6 feet. I'm gonna say maybe, if it was pulled tight, we're looking at 5 feet on the money. Okay, so if I was wrapping something, don't move, just say around like that, and around. You could calculate this, I'm just doing it by hand. Around, if I don't get too dizzy. Woo! And back to it. Let's say about right there. How many feet are we at? We're at 22 feet. 22 feet of space. Y'all look at my knees. Guys, this right here, this is how you garden. So 22 feet. Guess what we're gonna plant next? I don't know if this is gonna work. Got my husband's handy dandy tape measure there. We're gonna try pumpkins. Now, just as a reference, I want to show you, it's how long 22 feet is in this bed. This whole bed isn't even 22 feet. I know that for a fact. Okay, there's 22. So if I planted 1 pumpkin way up here at the top, I mean at the very top where I'm not planting a thing. Let's see if y'all can see me. This is why I'm trying this, guys. I want you to see how much you can get in such space. Right there. Right there. That's 22, and that's not even straight. 22 feet. That's how much is around that cage that I would wrap a pumpkin in. A regular pumpkin's not going to go this far. I mean, some might, but not the variety I'm going to plant. 22 feet. 22 feet. So if you're worried about a cucumber plant on it, and that's a short tomato cage. I mean, very short. I didn't even wrap the first one, that tall one. I know it would do well, and probably if I do this again, if I see it's working, I'll use the taller ones for cucumbers. I was going to do pole beans. I still may, and wrap them around that space. What I would like to try to do is plant something inside. I don't have time, it's fixing to storm. Plant something inside it and do the pole beans around it to throw off nitrogen to the base of what's inside the cage. May do that with a tomato. Let's plant a pumpkin really quick on that, and I hope that it'll work. So the only thing that concerns me about the pumpkin is I'm scared it's gonna be hard to train. It's gonna run down this hill, but that's okay. So I'm gonna plant it on the south side instead of going up where it's trying to get in the rest of all these plants. I'm going to do probably 3 seedlings and only leave 2 plants. I'm still gonna fertilized. I'm gonna get my calcium. We're gonna do this huge in the center. Pumpkins are heavy, heavy, heavy feeders. Now, what was worrying me about the pumpkin is when it grows a pumpkin, not laying on the ground, it's not gonna have any support over here. You can make a sling. You can do that out of pantyhose, okay? You can do that out of anything. Or, this is the beauty. The top here, I can make like a hammock for it. I can tie something over here and let it hang in the center once I get it intertwined to the top. I can make little hammocks all around this hanging sideways to hold the pumpkins if they grow. So that's what we're gonna do. Lots of calcium for pumpkins. You do not want blossom end rot, and that can happen, okay? That very well can happen with pumpkins. So we got that. Very good. Remember, that's just your fertilizer base. Put it in the soil. Now, again, we're gonna do the south side here. So I'm gonna put my calcium again over here with this and my triple 13. They're heavy, heavy feeders. Very good. Cover it up, make a mound, and I'm gonna plant 3 and thin down to 2. I have, again, no clue if this will work. None whatsoever. But I feel like this will. I feel like in my bones this will work. Ooh, get down in there. All right, it's fixing to rain, so I'm gonna show y'all everything done at once. So if you guys can see, this is my first tomato cage. This is, I'm covered in mud. It's raining, or it's getting ready to rain, and it was just not opportune, but I wanted to try to get this in. 6 better boys around this tall tomato cage on the outside. Be it alpha cucumbers around the outside of this in 3 spaces. Got 3 spaces of zucchini here, no, 5 of the Cocozelle zucchini to train straight up, like the tomatoes, straight up. Cucumber, I'm gonna wrap around. And then at the bottom down here, I did 3, I'm gonna thin to 2 Connecticut field pumpkins. Something very regular to go circular around the space. I want to be able to document this for you guys and see, because if it works, I'm gonna wanna know myself next spring, and I'll be watching the video to try to see what I did. Okay, so in exactly 8 feet and a few inches, we have 6 tomato plants, 3 cucumbers, well, 3 cucumber mounds, 5 zucchini plants, and 3 pumpkins in 8 feet. 8 feet by 2 feet. So, guys, this is extreme radical gardening. So this gardening right here is not what your mom and daddy would tell you to go do, and it's not what your grandma and grandpa would tell you to go do, but we're going to do it because we're going to experiment with this. This right here is radical gardening 101. I have no clue if this will work. I have none. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be a failure, a flop, or the best invention we've ever come up with ever. Like I said, think about bell peppers. I know those would do well around these tomato cages. Think about all different sorts of stuff you could do. I think the tomatoes will be a hit. I think it's going to be easy because they grow straight up. That's not going to be a problem. I think probably the cucumber and the pumpkin's going to be hard. The pumpkin's going to be hard, but we're going to work with it and see. The only problem is the sling to hold the fruit. We'll get to that bridge when we cross it, but this is how you can get that many plants in 2 feet by 8 feet. Okay, hopefully this will work. Let me know your ideas. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you've tried radically. Thank you to everybody that has liked, shared, and subscribed. We're jumping leaps and bounds. We need every little bit we can get. We want to get this knowledge out to others because it's fun, it's interesting. You're growing your own food. It's good for you. It's not this junk that you buy from the store. You're not having to spend a lot of money to get a ton of food crammed in one space, okay? Guys, it's easy. Get out there, get your hands in the dirt. We'll see you next time on Harmon Homestead.